13 people are dead, 50 others injured, and they have arrested a suspect after a vehicle plowed into a crowd there. We now have new video of the aftermath of the incident. We want to warn you, it is quite graphic. Police say a van jumped a curb and rammed into pedestrians in a busy area popular with tourists. It's the Rambla. Anyone who's been to Barcelona knows it. Let's get right to NBC's Kelly Kobiea now with the latest details. Kelly, good afternoon.
Harry, good afternoon to you. Yes, just in the past several minutes or so, police have announced that they have arrested one person in connection with this. They say they are treating him as a terrorist attacker. They also said that there is no one holed up in any bar in Barcelona. Just to take you back as to what happened over the past 3 hours or so, as Barcelona police have been on a manhunt for this attacker. About 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Spain time, this white van jumped the curb, accelerated into the crowd of tourists by the Plaza Catalunya in Barcelona, the very heart of Barcelona, packed with people visiting the city on a beautiful summer day. Reports that this van accelerated. Also, there are unconfirmed reports that it traveled several hundred feet before finally coming to a stop. The images on social media absolutely horrific, of pictures of people lying on the ground, not moving, very badly injured, people who were not injured who witnessed this stopped to help, trying to treat the injured on the scene. Paramedics were there relatively quickly trying to treat them as well, and police on scene, according to witnesses, almost instantly. Then, over the course of the past 3 hours or so, they have been on a manhunt for what they said was at least one suspect. And as I say, just in the past few minutes, they announced that they had arrested one man. No details, Harry, on where this man was arrested or the circumstances surrounding that arrest. They also have not yet said whether the manhunt is over or whether they're looking for more suspects. They do say that they're evacuating this part of Barcelona because of an ongoing police operation, escorting all of those people away from the center of Barcelona. Harry.
All right, Kelly Kobiea keeping an eye on things for us in London this afternoon. Thanks. NBC News White House correspondent Kristen Welker is in New Jersey, where President Trump is on his working vacation and has made his feelings known just a little while ago. Kristen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Harry. That's right. President Trump was briefed on the ongoing situation in Barcelona, and he tweeted about it just moments ago. This is what he said. The United States condemns the terror attack in Barcelona, Spain, and will do whatever is necessary to help. Be tough and strong. We love you. It is notable that he refers to it as a terror attack. Of course, Harry, essentially agreeing with the assessment of officials in Barcelona. The First Lady also tweeting about this. Before we heard from the president, she said thoughts and prayers to #Barcelona. Now, we know that a number of cabinet secretaries have also been briefed. The vice president and the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, talked about the attack earlier today during a press conference at the State Department. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I'd like to start by acknowledging the incident in Barcelona, which has the hallmarks, it appears, of yet another terrorist attack. We offer our condolences to the loss of life and the injuries that have occurred to so many innocent people yet again. We will continue to monitor the situation. We stand ready to assist law enforcement, national security authorities in Spain. Our consulates in Barcelona and our entire Mission Spain team are currently assisting Americans in Spain who are affected by these events.
And we are expecting to hear from Vice President Mike Pence, who's traveling in Barcelona. And of course, the president keeping close tabs on this. Not clear yet whether we will hear from him. But there have been a number of terror attacks overseas, from London to Paris to Stockholm and beyond, since President Trump has taken office. And of course, he made that a key campaign issue to stomp out the threat of terrorism, to defeat terrorists. It's been a pillar of his presidency as well. So typically in the wake of these attacks, he uses very strong words. And again, we're tracking to see if we hear from him today. At this point, no public events on his schedule. Now, tomorrow, he travels to Camp David, where he will be meeting with the vice president and other top officials, his national security team. And initially, the focus there was going to be the strategy in Afghanistan. That undoubtedly will still be up for discussion tomorrow, but they will likely address these developments today in Barcelona as well, Harry.
All right, Kristen Welker in New Jersey, thank you very much. Joining us as well as Pete Williams in our D.C. Bureau. Pete, good afternoon. This is a conversation that you end up involved with all too often, it seems. What are you thinking about this afternoon?
Well, this has become a much more common terror method of attack. In the last, say, 10 years or so since al-Qaeda first called on people to use whatever they could get their hands on to commit terror attacks, including cars, a call that was reinforced by ISIS about 4 years later. By our count, there have been some 20 or so of these vehicle attacks, and more than half of them have been in just the past year. So the number of them has increased here in just the last couple of months. Of course, the most deadly was the one a year ago in Nice, France, when a truck was driven into a crowd of people in a seaside resort and killed 86 people. But this one in Barcelona, if this number of 13 holds or goes higher, will certainly rank among the deadlier of these vehicle attacks. They're very difficult to detect in advance. Of course, when there are planned events like inaugurations, New Year's Eve in New York, the authorities can close off the streets where large crowds have gathered. But in a situation like this, where it's just people walking down a city street in a big city, it's impossible to keep all the traffic away, because traffic is what big cities are all about. So it's something that city police and authorities around the world have been aware of this threat, but it's a very difficult one to prevent. The best, of course, prevention is intelligence, trying to know about these things in advance, but it doesn't take many people to plan them. And if only a few people are involved, that makes the ability to get intelligence all that much more difficult, Harry.
And the Rambla is a pedestrian sort of boulevard that's just crowded with tourists every day of the year. It's in a little way, it's like Times Square, New York, or different public spaces that tourists frequent, and people must be scratching their heads now. How in the world would you prevent something like this happening in any area that's so frequented by tourists and regular citizens?
Well, a sign of the times. Some cities in the U.S. now, as they plan public parks or public gathering spaces, are planning bollards and barricades as part of their planning to prevent vehicles from entering them, because it has just become all too common. Existing areas are the more difficult ones to protect, but you're seeing more and more of this in cities around the world, but it's impossible to put up barriers around everything.
Pete Williams in Washington, thank you so much. We continue to have full coverage throughout the day on MSNBC and on NBCNews.com, and a complete wrap-up tonight on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. For now, I'm Harry Smith, NBC News, New York.